Hello po. Good day, dear teachers. Good day, dear teachers. I know that you're all excited for this day because you will learn sign language. And after this day, you can able to communicate with the deaf community. But before that po, allow me to give you a little background about sign language. I am teacher Ariel po, a teacher for the deaf for about 4 years now. And I am teaching junior high school to senior high school deaf students here in Pampanga po. So with that, as a deaf teacher, I will share with you my knowledge and understanding about deaf community. As a teacher, regular or SPED, I firmly believe that we need to learn basic sign language po because we educators might experience an interaction among deaf parents or stakeholders. And by having basic knowledge about sign language can help us in having a good relationship with them. So, without further ado, let me begin this quick presentation about deaf culture and its community. To begin with, the politically correct terminology that the deaf community identifies themselves is deaf or hard of hearing. The deaf community doesn't want to use po yung hearing impaired because it implies that something is wrong. Instead, they recognize themselves being a deaf or hard of hearing. Ayan po. So basically, what is deafness or hard of hearing all about? When we say deafness or hard of hearing po, these are the individuals who cannot hear sounds po. Like yung car honking or your birds tweeting, alarm clock, and many more. But these are also individuals who have different, yun po yung tawag doon, different abilities and capabilities. They are unique po in their own ways. So we have to understand them. But we have to treat them equally. Now people are asking, why people become deaf? First one po, based on my research, sometimes they are born like that. They are born maybe because they have relatives or it's in their genes that they are born to be deaf. And then second one po, sometimes people become sick and they can make them, that sick po, that sick can make them unable to hear. So if the deaf people cannot able to hear, how can we able to communicate with them? We can communicate with them using sign language po. And as I mentioned earlier, we might encounter people who are deaf po. So let us define what is sign language means. Basically po, a sign language is a series of hand movement po. It is a series of hand movement that has meaning. Like for example po, this one. In the Philippine education po, we use ASL or yung po tinatawag ng American Sign Language to communicate. And I think this will be taught to you later on since you know what sign language is and what sign language we are using here in the Philippines, I will share to you now the 3 do's and don'ts in communicating with deaf people. So, do's and don'ts of deaf communication. So, the first one is this po. Do use pen and paper to talk to the deaf. If in case po na you will encounter parents or stakeholders who are deaf and somehow forgot the basic sign language that you learned or that you will learn here, you can do this po. You can get a pen and a paper and write everything that you want them to understand. But you have to take mind, since we are using American Sign Language, you have to write it po in English. But in the Philippines, I think they are creating Filipino Sign Language that we can use it now. But they are not done yet, so we are still using American Sign Language. And then this one naman po, don't use glow sticks po to write in the air. Just like example here, do not write like this. Like for example, you're trying to say sorry. Do not write the letters in the air because they cannot able to understand it po. So instead, if you have a clean paper there, you can write it down po. Next one, the second one po is this. Very important po when you are communicating with the deaf is you have the facial expression. So you have to try to communicate with a deaf person by using a facial expression po. Like for example, you you are saying thank you. Okay? When we are saying thank you, of course, we smile. Ganito po. Ayan. And then the sign language for thank you is like this. Thank you. Ayan po, with smile. Thank you. You cannot say thank you with this face. Thank you. Or you cannot say hello with this face. Hello. But rather, with this facial expression, hello, thank you for coming. Okay ba? These are the facial expression or you need facial expression to communicate with the deaf. And the don't part is do not shout at a deaf person hoping that they will hear you. No matter how loud it is, they can still hear you. So the third part naman po, the third part is you have to use a gentle tap to get a deaf person's attention. Like for example po, you have encountered parents who are deaf and then you ask them to sign. Okay po, like for example, a deaf parent is busy signing paper, and then you need to get their attention. You can tap them gently, or you can face them and then say, excuse me. Okay po? And then the don't part naman po is do not suddenly grab a deaf person's shoulder. So, like, same with the hearing people, tayo po yun, grabbing person's shoulder, okay, sudden grab of person's shoulder is a show of disrespectful. Same as with the deaf community, they are like that also. One of their culture is like that. So, all of the cartoons that I have mentioned or that I have shown you are the do's of communicating with them. But I believe that the most important tool for good communication is to hear po. Is to respect the deaf and communicate in a respectful manner. And then second one po, learn ASL or the American Basic Sign Language or the basics. And then make sure that the deaf can read your lips. Just like this po. Like for example, you will say thank you po. Okay? Thank you. Okay po, dapat po yung movement po ng mouth po natin is like that. Do not shout at them po. It doesn't matter how loud you are, they are not going to hear you. And do not exaggerate, they won't understand you. Are moving your hands and arms randomly and everywhere. With that, with all the knowledge that I have shared with you po, I want to leave this quotation. Deaf people can do anything that hearing people can, except only to hear. Meaning, just like us po, hearing people, they are also deaf people are also a functional individual in our society. And if I can do a lot of things, deaf people can do a lot of things as well. So what I can do, deaf people can do, except to hear. Lastly po, I want to present to you a video of a deaf mom. Just like I have mentioned to you a while ago po, you might encounter deaf parents or colleagues po. This video po, it is a video of a deaf mom / my colleagues po who has 3 hearing children. Her children po, they are all studying in public school. And this video, she will share with you her experiences. Okay, so here's the video po. Okay, so I hope that you have learned something from Mami / Teacher Joanne as she shares with you her experiences of success. I want to end this presentation with this. with proper consent and permission, I am proudly present to you my co-teacher and my dear students, showing how proud they are being a deaf. Thank you so much po and enjoy learning the sign language. Here's the video po.
A stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say, no one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. Sharpest words wanna cut me down. I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me.